see which part I reach. Yeah, man, I'm in it.
Mr. You would ask, tiles moving weird, you know?
We're showing customers, how they feel.
How it could be used sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like we're in this tiny space.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I was thinking, imagine if I can get a new place and set something up in there that could work.
if our place could, there's an open space in our place. It could be,
Yeah.
It could be like a 3 hour talk.
Yeah.
I just have to tell them.
A podcast on a coconut tree.
Yeah, that's like setting up great audio, and like microphones and everything. So where we at? No, for me, 2 layers to gratitude. Why it's harder to find nowadays. It's not only here, even
I think it's hard to find.
specifically harder.
Much harder here.
Much harder.
Because especially older folks seem to not have it. Period. So they have pushed that on all the younger generations to find gratitude in the littlest things. They can't find it. They're very ungrateful people, I find. They're blessed, but then they don't know how to be grateful for it. And they push that into the younger generation so much that when you have the right to be grateful, you don't know you should. And people don't do it. People don't know how to be grateful, how to have gratitude. It's just confusing.
It's hard, right? I mean,
I just think because it's Cayman Islands, it's harder than New York City now. So they used to say if you can make it in New York City, make it anywhere in the world. I think you make it here, you make it anywhere in the world. Because everywhere you go after this, the cost of living is cheaper.
that's true.
So,
The potential of the island, like to maneuver this thing that happened. I mean, it was something. I mean, it got recognized more than it has been.
Yeah.
It's like people want to, like, even the government's pushing to improve the population. So it's like, let's say, for example, let's say the whole country now at 65,000 population is generating, let's say, 2 billion Cayman Islands dollars. Top it up with 15,000 people more. Maybe. It's like ratio in proportion, 33, additional 33%.
if you're going to add more people, plan ahead.
They are.
Well, the government,
That's the push.
Well, the government usually plans a little bit ahead too slow, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because they already got more people coming before they already had the infrastructure going.
Yeah, that's the thing. The infrastructure.
So, get the infrastructure kind of set up that before these people come. Because you're creating a traffic problem. You're creating a lot of problems before you even solve them.
That's
so, and I was listening to Crosstalk and they were talking about you need to stop the limitation of how much cars you can bring in. And I said that's stupid. Because I can own 100 cars. I have 100 cars in my yard. I can only ever get one and drive one on the road at a time.
fair point.
But if you bring in 15,000 people and they buy 15,000 cars, that's 15,000 more cars on the road.
15,000 more homes.
15,000 more everything.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not about the amount of cars coming in.
Yeah.
If it's one person bringing 6 cars, so be it. It's the amount of people coming in because it needs people to drive the cars.
It's just parking space.
So you just need to, I'm not saying we can't import more people. Take a pause, take a break, restructure the island a little bit, see what works, what's not working, and get the infrastructure in place before you start to bring in 50. We're going to end up like China. So. When you walk up the street, it's going to be, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? I was going to be bumping the bumper up close, up tight.
I thought China was, but it's the
Yeah, so before you get there, start to plan ahead and make the infrastructure work. And you got to draw a cap because this island's a little dot on the map. You want to bring in 15,000 people, you got, let's say, 70,000 people here. These people make people.
True.
So in about 5-10 years, you'll have another 15,000 people. Why do you keep importing? Because at some point, you're going to run out of space.
You guys here have a better-ish government compared to other governments. So
Yeah,
I'm expecting there is a better way for them to maneuver this.
Yeah.
Because they have more resources for that matter, and then the UK is here
You see,
to back it up.
I would agree when I say the Cayman Islands government per se is a little bit better than most governments. But then the problem that came out of the government, and my father used to say this, is the reason Caymanians can't get up the ladder is because it's Caymanians at the top of the ladder, and that's the government. So they keep pushing us down. They're not worried about us, because if we get up there where they are, that's competition. They'd rather see people in between that.
I think I see it everywhere. But, yeah, it could,
It's
but it's your. I
It's
mean,
politics
you've been
at that
here.
point.
Yeah, you've been here more.
yeah,
You've been here more than.
it's politics. There's nothing you can do per se. But the government has handled all of the
Yeah, this kind of,
situations.
like this thing that we're discussing is like it creates what you call this also a layer to how gratitude could be like not seen, like layers like this, like what you call this, news problems, politics, like advertisement to we will improve the
I gotta say one thing that you said advertising. I think advertising should be illegal. You may continue. Yeah, I do. Because
another topic for another time.
yeah, it's not a topic for sure, but I'll say this right now. If you ever realize Rolls Royce doesn't have a commercial, okay, the name itself speaks for itself. So, like you said, it's only recently ITC started to advertise per se. Before that, it was just mainly word of mouth.
Tesla
And
doesn't have
a wise person once told me he's been self-employed, I want to say 58 years now. He's run his own business since. He said the best, he doesn't have a card per se. The best advertisement is the word of mouth, because when you deliver great customer service, that customer's going to talk. He's going to go to the bar, have a drink. He's going to tell everybody, oh, I got my tires through ITC, da, 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 da. And that sells it. If you got to put up an ad, you're trying to sell it.
Yes,
And
that's
to
true.
me, if you put up an ad, you're selling bullshit. Because you want people to buy. You need people to buy. You're not getting nobody, so you need to force them to buy. You got to put it out there so that you can see it, and that may buy you buy it. And that's how I treat ads. I
But
don't
you
believe
do
it.
know that advertisements is a business as well.
It is. It is.
It feeds mouths. So.
I saw this commercial. It's funny how we're on this now. I saw this commercial, and it was talking about hungry kids in the world, and donate 30 cents. And I'm thinking to myself, you know how much money did it cost for you to make that
Advertisement. Yeah.
1 minute video for YouTube or whatever? That's a couple $1 million you spent per se. Could be.
So there's an earning to it. I mean, see, any service, even if like it's for non-profits, it should earn. Why? It should continue its service.
Right.
So there's big money, despite them spending millions in advertising. But it's like there's a case for advertisements sometimes. If the idea is so great, and it's like new.
It's like, I'm not saying you can't advertise, you know.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people, they don't get the concept.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
if your service was
it's
that
hard,
great,
right?
you really wouldn't put it on ad. You know, you might put it on
That's
ad
why
to say they were on
you
sale.
see some controversy with the Super Bowl, with some of the advertisements there, like pushing it too much.
Yeah.
With like, there's like contents differentiating certain groups of people, like race ideas.
You
And
see, the
like,
thing about me, the reason I say that is I've seen nothing on an ad that's made me go and buy it. Just because I saw it on an ad or saw it in a commercial.
But,
There's nothing there that makes me jump and buy it. It's you telling me, hey, I bought this product, try it.
the argument is it works for certain frames of mind. It's like different people with that.
You know what I love to use it turn off? I kind of need to turn that off sometimes.
Yeah.
But that I think a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it wouldn't work for let's say there's maybe the computation is like this. You advertise for like 100,000 times for let's say 3 months. Example, just an example. And then what would create audience? It's like 80%, and what would create a sale would be 50%. They should. I think that's the analogy to that.
Okay.
They don't factor the whole 100% generating $1 or $2. They should factor it like.
Because a lot of people are going to see the ad and be like me. Nah. But then there's going to be people like, hey, we should check that out. And there's going to be some people just going to jump into it. So.
I mean, it's what runs. I mean, not specifically advertisement, but what runs the world is the capitalist move now. You see, like creating infrastructure here. A lot of private companies are doing it for the government, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what they're selling us great habitable homes and infrastructure for business, private companies are doing it.
Yeah.
It's not the government specifically, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's
Infrastructure.
a lot of private people are building,
It should
which
be
is
government.
help. But then, like I said, the government they tend to wait till there's a problem before they fix it. And it's like, you end up with this big traffic chaos, and then everybody's got to run to the meeting board. Like, what do we do?
That's true.
We need public transport. You needed these things 10 years ago. You knew you needed these things 10 years ago. Long before this port discussion came up when I was a little boy in school.
Seriously?
Yeah. Came up one time before. McKeever Bush is turning around and built the dock in Honduras during this time. So it's like, why did no one focus here? You all want more people to come. You're getting the people to come. They find people are coming.
People are coming here.
But you have done nothing to the infrastructure to help these people come.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is creating more traffic along the way and more headache along the way. Now you're rushing to do it. Which is fine, you're going to do it, but now we're ready here. So like, don't wait till there's a problem. Take a pause, take a cap, take a break, and get the infrastructure built up.
Yeah, it's hard, right? It's a hard crack for.
Because they're aiming to try to build this road straight up to the eastern side. I don't know if you've been across there on the back road in the Woodlands, that takes you in.
Yeah.
The single lanes, they widen into 2 lanes now and they're pushing out all the east. So it'll be like Westway, it's just a free flow. I can't wait to happen, but that road was put in years ago, like you should have just continued from then. Like, you knew you wanted another 30,000 people. You were ahead of the game then, you should have stayed ahead of the game and got the road.
That perspective, you seeing it from where you were younger here. I don't have that. That's right.
So you had the chance to do it before it got to this place. If you did it then, there would be traffic still, but it wouldn't be as bad, is what I'm thinking.
The only thing that's gripping me with this, what you call it, discussion with the roads and everything and the government's role here. Again, your government's better than our government, to be honest. That's why, to a degree, that's gratitude thinking in a way.
At the end of the day, I think they handled COVID the best so far.
Oh.
Yeah, I was looking at the results again last night.
Imagine we're having coffee.
No mask. We can freely walk through the streets with no mask.
I told you, I was talking to...
Yeah?
It's still crazy, Mr.
Still crazy?
That's a grace.
It's still Greece. Oh.
Yeah. It is.
He went to Lebanon?
You didn't live outside to see what's happening.
Oh wow.
Me leaving.
Yeah.
And once again, you have a family that died for COVID.
Wow.
As if you're watching the Haram.
Never
Or
ending.
living.
Yeah.
In the Philippines too, Mr. Sherry.
A lot of countries are like that now. I heard Italy is shut down.
When I left here, I didn't,
Yeah.
we didn't know that feeling. We didn't know what's happening outside. As if we're living alone in this world here.
Oh, okay.
You go outside at the airport all the time, you have to wear the mask. You go back home, quarantining all the day, you can't go anywhere.
So it's like, Mr. Chady, the fake world is what we have in Cayman.
Yeah, but
That's something.
we're lucky.
What we're trying to talk about, Mr. Chady, is like, despite this situation we had, we're the luckiest place on earth. People are not seeing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I think a lot of my people really truly aren't seeing it.
No, even to a degree, it's like
I don't think
we're
they're
too
seeing
protected here that we can't feel it to
Yeah.
become more thankful or grateful of the time that we are spending.
I don't watch news, but I'll hear it now and then.
I don't watch news.
And you can hear how all the countries are going through it, and it's like, look, we did good. I wish every country would stop and take a look at the example and just lock down for a few months and just get it under control. Just get it under control. I'm sure the government has lost money.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Take the
Because
loss.
I volunteered. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't need volunteers if they have enough capacity, like pay people, or like risk having more time. But it's like the hard part of this thing is here we're just a population of 65,000. In the Philippines, a population of 100 million in a pandemic, making them organized with few resources, unlike Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
It's a hard crack.
And that's a lot more people to try to kind of keep contained.
The camera, I can't see.
It's like trying to keep it contained, not going.
Yeah, it's like, then why is it difficult to see, right? Why is it difficult to see? That's it.
I don't know, I think.
But you've told like before the pirate story, right?
Yeah.
That's fascinating. I mean, there could be like layers of it.
Okay, you know what?
Tango.
You just said it's hard to see. I have this little thing, it's called under the radar, and that's why it's hard for people to see, and we can explain it.
Go.
The radar is a big scoop. It's a little dot in the middle, and there's a little thing going around. Every time it passes
Yeah.
something, it will blink so you can see where it's at. Under the radar means you're right here. And as long as the scope's going, you'll never see, because you're under.
What do you mean by radar there?
It's just like
how
a
we
safe,
think-
it's like a safe zone.
No, safe zone. Okay,
It's like
cool.
a safe zone, like you're just trying to play it safe, you stay
It's
away
like-
from all the trouble, and as long as you play it safe and stay away from trouble, you'll never see it.
It's
You
like
just
an-
kind of gotta step out.
It's like how our
You ever
like
watch, you ever watch the movie?
mix of ideas.
What was that movie with Jamie Foxx? Law-abiding citizen.
I think I've watched it.
Alright, so the guy, somebody raped his family, killed him. He did a bunch of shit to go to prison. But he only went to prison just to take out all the people who handled the court system and kill him. And nobody could find how he was doing it, because he was in prison. Prison is the big radar. He's right in the middle of it. You would never see that was him doing it, because he was in the prison. He's under the radar. He's in a safe spot. So while they're outside searching for who's blowing this one up, who's killing this one, who's doing that, he's sitting out in the prison.
So you're like,
So the radar is the big scoop outside, and he's right in the middle of it. You'd never see him.
so it's like,
Right.
good morning, good morning. It's like us or the people who's like, or like have the tendency who don't appreciate or the luck that we have here.
Yeah.
They are having that radar mechanic going on there, and they're
Hiding under it.
hiding.
So they can't see the bigger picture. Nobody can see
So
the
let's
picture
talk
from under
about
the radar.
that layer now, the radar thing. What do you think it is? Ideas?
I've never looked into that. Yeah,
I have
see?
I'm not saying it is the only thing, but like the way the world is constructed now, it's like social media. It's a kind of distraction to a lot of people. So it's
Yes.
like it creates not all, but it's like a layer that where people devote their attention a lot and time. The average person who's like that have the tendency to lose more of their valuable time.
Mhm, mhm.
So that's one. I haven't what you call this done the research on this, but it's like
Yeah.
that's
So social
causes
media is almost like a smoke screen per se.
fog.
Yeah, it's just fog.
Just
And
fog.
it helps people to stay under that radar and be out of the public's eye
True.
and be who they either really want to be or who they think they are. It's like, social media to me is just image per se, but it's you're trying to sell something. So it's either you're really trying to sell who you are or who you're not. So a lot of people are really
Yeah,
themselves
that's
on
the thing.
Instagram,
Yeah.
and some people are pretending to be something on Instagram.
And they don't have followers, and the other person have followers.
Yeah, it's like, it's like
Yeah, it's
So it's almost like you can watch a lot of fake people pick up a lot of followers and a lot of real people who don't. And it's like, what's going on here? I don't know. People just seem to like drama, fake, hate. It's like those things when you push those things, you get more followers. It's weird.
That's the thing. That's the weird part of our world now. See, I've tackled not all.
Everybody wants love and peace,
Yeah.
but when you speak love and peace,
It doesn't sell.
They
Yeah.
kill you.
It doesn't sell.
It doesn't sell and it'll kill you. And if you speak hate and everything else, it'll sell.
Fascinating.
Sex will sell.
Yeah, it's
Always,
fascinating.
right now, always. No matter what you do, it'll sell. You can't sell the style. You put a bikini girl on it, tile gone.
So
It's just
so
like what?
So it's like more of like a wiring issue.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think it was Joe Rogan's thing that I learned. Could have been from him. I believe it was from him that in the first 5 years when a child is born, that is the most crucial part of his life because those first 5 years is what he will take with him for the rest of his life.
That's
It's
true.
like a pre-programming, and once that 5 year
That's
hits, it's pre-programmed. You'll still learn after, but those 5 years that is your base ground programming now.
I'm gonna tell you, like related to that, it came from Dr. Peterson, but I believe he matched this concept with another study or research. So what's particular with the first 5 years? Actually, first 2 to 4 years for aggressive children, if you don't teach them social structures or you don't socialize them, they always end up being criminals.
Mm-hmm.
2 to 4 years, if you don't fix that part for hyper aggressive children, if you don't notice that your child is like always hitting, always biting, always, and you don't fix that, you don't socialize that part, they will become criminals. Interesting, right? Which correlates to the 5 years thing.
Yeah, and it's a lot of overprotectiveness. Parents too will cause that because you gotta allow the child to have an experience. You cannot say, "I've done it, you don't need to do it."
But
You can, but he still has to kind of go through it. So my father was one day looking at me cooking on the stove, and I almost reached and grabbed the pot. Mom was like, "No, don't touch the pot, it's hot." And father looks at me and said, "Hey, grab that pot." Then I listened to my father, and I grab it, and I scream and all that. And he said, "All right, next time she tells you don't touch the pot, that's what hot feel like, now you know." And my mom accustomed for it, but at the end of the day, the years went by and I thought about it, I was like, hey,
that's a great thing.
that was an experience.
That's
She stopped me from doing it. I would never know what it was hot. I might have turned 35 going, what's hot feel like? And when I realized by being
Absence of heat.
35 to grab this pot, I wouldn't know how to handle grabbing that pot at 35. I wouldn't know how to handle grabbing the heat and burning my hand and screaming at 35 versus being a little child. You might be 35, you never touched a hot pot. You went through all this experience in life, you've done so much things at 35, and you finally touch this pot and it's hot, and you burn your hand, you don't know how
For
to
the
react.
past 35
Yeah,
years.
you don't, you look like, what the hell is this? It's something new. So if you did that when you were younger, the experience is the best teacher. And
Interesting.
I always wanted to be a pilot. I did some training before Ivan just kind of
Messed everything.
scrambled everything over the place. But one of the instructors I had taught me, the reason he stayed an instructor for at least 5 years before he went on to become a commercial pilot. And I was like, why would you do that once you got the hours? Why did you just go? He's like, because I was always into learning. And while I was being an instructor, I started to realize my students would make mistakes that I didn't make. And that was a learning experience for me. So I learned everybody else's mistakes. When I went to go fly, you know, kind of pilot experience I had. There's scenarios I didn't do, but I learned because of somebody else.
It's like,
Experience will always be the best
See,
teacher.
I'm gonna pick up on that. See, we grew up in a time where social media is like like in infant stage,
Yeah.
15 years. It took 15 years for it like to skyrocket.
Yeah,
now.
because it
But,
started
now,
from,
but what worries me is the kids now.
yeah, because that's all they know.
They woke up in this world,
Yeah, they woke up in it.
in this storm.
I think it was 15 when I got my first cell phone, and at that time, 15 in cell phone, oh, I was this age and I got mine.
Yeah,
Well,
that's it. Yeah, I
now-
remember that argument.
Now it's like 5 years old and they got an iPad.
iPad.
So it's like, hey,
Yeah, and I'm telling even some of our colleagues here, don't
yeah.
give the kids these things. I mean, we
You
don't.
ever realize when you buy a kid a toy, most likely he'll play with a cardboard box versus the toy? Ain't that funny? That I've been trying to figure out. You'll buy him a wheel, you can drag it, push it. 15 minutes later, you go look for the kid, he's playing in the cardboard box that the toy came over, and it's like, I bought you this, not that, why are you doing this? So, that theory I'm trying to figure out why.
Oh,
That's something I've been trying to think about. What makes them
I
want
haven't
to
touched any material related to that, but it's like,
up here all day, it just don't stop. That's why I tell people it's hard for me to fall asleep at night, because when I'm shutting down, my brain
it's hard, right?
my
Yeah.
brain goes, oh, you go into bed now, hold on, let me turn off this. Oh,
That's
I'll
why.
turn this off.
That's why
So
even
it's just like,
I dig into these ideas.
yeah.
Maybe this is where I find solitude in a way, because with tackling great ideas and comparing it to the real world, that's how it's happening,
Yeah.
it gives you a point of where you find better use of like that ticking thing in our like we have both that mechanic. I mean, it's hard to turn it off. But yeah, I told you, you should pick your battles in a way.
You should.
I mean, because there's a limit. Like time is a limit. We only have limited time in the world.
Yeah.
We're gonna die, right?
Yeah.
and energy wise, it's like it's more effective to like devote it to like better problems to solve.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. So.
That's the one thing I try to save every day is when you can't save is time.
Yeah, it's hard.
I tell people I kind
Bill
of
Gates
try
had
to
the
save
same time, man. Elon had the same
Yeah.
time.
Just trying to save it, but can't save it. So it's coming.
It's a hard crack for everybody. It's a hard crack. I mean, for now, me learning, building things, make myself better as a person. That's where I'm at. I'm not saying
think-
it's the
I
best
think-
solution because, see, it's
Michael Jackson said it when he wrote the song "The Man in the Mirror," and everybody loves the song. I love the song, but I don't think it was still about my experience through 2020 coming into 2021 and maybe start.
But Mr. Chady.
Right. That's not even me. Take a look at the guy in the actual mirror. Who is he? What is he? What does he want? That's you. Deal with this guy. Deal with this guy. And I remember a couple weeks ago, when I got in an argument, she's like, "You need to look yourself in the mirror." And I was like, "You know something, Mom? I actually do every day. And I love what I see in the mirror every day now. I love this guy now. The guy before this, I didn't love him because he wasn't being true to himself. He had to go through a lot of experiences to get here.
like Confucius.
And my problem was, I was trying to fit into society. I was raised, like I said, I'm not perfect, but I'm raised by somebody that thinks they are. And I tried to fit into society and impress people and please people and do what they like and wear what they were wearing, follow the crowd. 2003, I graduated from school. I don't have my graduation ring anymore because I lost that. And on one side of it, I got the word cowboy engraved with a horse, and that was 2003. So 2016, I finally put on that and started gradually becoming it. And I keep thinking...
2016.
16. That's
Oh,
so...
it's the same year that I did this.
Okay, so I see so many years gap between that. 2003 to 2016, what was I doing?
That is my big question when I...
You know what I mean?
When I got...
How did I miss this gap? Why is it 2000? And I met Paul Button. Now, I've seen Paul Button like throughout my years of driving on the road, passing on the road. I've seen him. I've heard people talk about him. And what I've learned, people say, "Oh, he don't like people." I was like, "Okay, cool. I don't like people." And
Yeah, okay.
one day, I was
You got something in common.
I was, yeah, and I was working Vaughn, and his current wife worked at Vaughn. And she became like my mother, because I didn't have a mother growing up. And, you know, we always talk, and he would come by on Fridays this year, and we started talking. And I remember one day, I don't remember how the conversation went, I just remember him saying, "I'm going to get you a hat." And I was like, "If you get that hat, I'm going to wear it." And I didn't think he was serious when I said it, because I don't even think I was serious when I said that.
Okay, fair
Right?
point, yeah.
So 2 months later, he shows up back from Ocala, Florida, and he's like, "Hey, it's bag." So I just take the bag and open it, it's a hat in it, and I'm like,
Frick.
so shit, I got to wear this now. So I put it on, and it's just a hat, and somebody looked at me one day and said, "Hey, that hat suits you." And I was like, "Okay, thanks." And it just go over here and there, and someone, "Hey, that hat suits you." I'm like, "Okay, cool." And I just kept the hat on, and eventually I was watching this music video, and I saw some reflective shades, and I'm like, "That's what I'm missing." So I bought the shades, and then it's like, "Yo, I love your look." And I was like, "All right," and I'm like that. And then Paul again, we were talking, and then he's like, this is a couple years later, it was 2018.
Okay.
He's like, "I'm going back to Ocala, I'm gonna get you some boots." And I'm like, "I'm not gonna repeat my statement, just get the boots, and whatever you do, don't make them black." He's like, "All right." So he calls me up one day, I was at work, he's like, "Hey, take a picture of your foot and send it to me." I was like, "Why would I want to do that?" He's like, "I'm at the boot store, they need to see your foot." I was like, "And they can judge the size by the picture?" He's like, "The guy's pretty good." So I sent him the picture of my foot. He sent me a picture of the boot. What do you think about this color? I was like, "I like that color." And he's like, "All right, I'll be back." That was it. Showed up following week. It's these size 12D boots. He said, "Try these on." And they fit. And
Interesting.
it's so interesting because I had a pair of boots when I went to Triple C school for 1 year. I wore black boots. I had a belt one time in my life. I wore that. And I had a hat one time.